So you're comfortable cruising from Miami, Port Canaveral, maybe Galveston, but now you're ready to take that big step and cruise internationally. Maybe you're looking at Barcelona, Rome, Athens, Southampton, maybe even Asia, and you're thinking, how different can it really be? Well, very different. Cruising abroad is absolutely amazing, and honestly, some of our best cruise experiences have happened outside of the United States. But there are definitely some mistakes you do not want to make, because missing the ship in Miami is one thing. Missing the ship when you're standing in a train station somewhere in Italy and don't speak Italian, that's a whole different level of stress. So if you're thinking about taking your first cruise abroad, here are 12 things I think every first-time international cruiser needs to know before you go. And make sure you stay until the end, because I'm also going to tell you one of the biggest mistakes I think first-time international cruisers make when planning their itinerary. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, if you're new here, I'm Raquel. I'm the owner of Major Adventures Travel and the creator of MH Family Adventures. I've sailed on almost 100 cruises across 16 different cruise lines, exploring destinations all around the world. Cruising has taken me far beyond the Caribbean, and one of my favorite things is showing people that cruising abroad doesn't have to be intimidating. So whether you're planning your first international cruise or just ready to explore more of the world by ship, I'm sharing what I've learned from nearly 100 cruises to help you cruise abroad with confidence. Let's get into it. My first tip actually starts before you book. Not every international cruise is a great first international cruise. If you've never traveled outside of the country before, I probably wouldn't recommend starting with an extremely complicated itinerary that requires multiple flights, several visas, difficult transportation, and a cruise port 3 hours away from the airport. There's nothing wrong with working your way up. Europe can actually be a great introduction to cruising internationally. Barcelona is one of my favorite cities for a cruise because there are plenty of hotels, transportation is relatively easy to figure out, and there's so much to do before or after your cruise. Athens is another popular option. Rome is amazing, but remember, you're actually sailing from Civitavecchia, and we'll talk about that in a minute. The point is, don't choose your first international cruise based only on the ship. Look at the entire experience. Where am I flying? How difficult is it to get to the cruise port? What are the countries we're visiting? What documentation will I need? How comfortable am I navigating those destinations? The ship is only one piece of an international cruise. And if you're new here, before we continue, go ahead and subscribe to our channel, because cruising is what we do. We're actually preparing to take our 100th cruise, and we're celebrating that milestone in a big way by heading to Japan. So if you want to follow that adventure, along with plenty of cruise tips, ship tours, destination guides, and our real cruise experiences around the world, make sure you subscribe and turn on those notifications. Now let's keep going. Now this is probably one of the biggest surprises for people cruising Europe for the first time. Your itinerary says Rome, but your ship isn't sitting beside the Colosseum. You're probably docking in Civitavecchia, which is well outside of Rome. Your itinerary might say Florence, but you're docking in Livorno. Paris? Your cruise ship definitely isn't pulling up beside the Eiffel Tower. And this matters for two reasons. First, when you're booking your pre-cruise hotel, don't automatically assume you need a hotel beside the cruise terminal. Sometimes you're better off staying in the actual city and transferring to the port on embarkation morning. Second, this matters when you're planning excursions. If your ship is only in port for 8 hours and the attraction you want to visit is 90 minutes away each way, you don't really have 8 hours. So before I book anything, I always want to know, where does the ship actually dock? Now, if you've been following, you already know that I encourage people to fly in early for their cruise. But internationally, I'm even more serious about it. For a cruise from Florida, you might have several flights available if something goes wrong. From an international cruise, you could have a connection, an overnight flight, fewer alternatives, and you're crossing an ocean. I personally like to leave at least 2 days before an international cruise whenever possible, because even if your flight arrives on time, you'll still have jet lag. And I don't want to spend embarkation day looking like I've been fighting for my life for the last 24 hours. Give yourself time to get there. Let your luggage get there. Let your body get there and enjoy the embarkation city. You've already paid to fly all across the world. Why not actually experience it? Everybody talks about getting to the cruise. Let's talk about getting home. Please don't see that your ship arrives at 6 a.m. and think, perfect, I'll book a 8:30 flight. No, don't do that. Your ship arriving at 6 does not mean you're standing at the airport at 6:15. The ship has to be cleared. You have to get off. You have to retrieve your luggage. You have to get transportation. And remember what we just talked about. Your cruise port may be a considerable distance from the airport. Then you have airport procedures, security, baggage check. Give yourself time. Depending on the port and airport, I may even stay one additional night after the cruise. I'd rather spend one more night exploring than spend my last cruise morning running through an airport praying my luggage can keep up with me. Be sure to check your passport, visa, and entry requirements yourself. This is extremely important. Do not get all of your international travel requirements from a Facebook group. And please don't say, well, somebody in the cruise group said we don't need it. That somebody is not going to be standing beside you if you're denied boarding. Requirements depend on your passport, citizenship, itinerary, and the countries you're visiting. And requirements change often. So well before your cruise, check your passport expiration date and review the official entry requirements for your destinations. Some destinations may require visas or electronic travel authorizations, and don't assume the cruise line is responsible for making sure you have everything. Ultimately, you are responsible for having the correct travel documentation. Now, this is where my overpackers are going to get mad at me. You do not need 4 suitcases. I repeat, you do not need 4 suitcases. Remember, you're probably doing more than going airport, Uber, cruise ship. You may have trains, small taxis, cobblestone streets, hotels with tiny elevators, hotels with no elevators, and European hotel rooms can be much smaller than what you're used to in the United States. You don't want to spend your vacation wrestling a 70-pound suitcase through a train station. And pay attention to your electronics. Electrical outlets and voltage can be very different depending on where you're traveling. Check what you need before you leave. And be careful with things like power strips and adapters because cruise lines have their own restrictions about what can be brought on board. Pack strategically. Your back will thank you later. All right, number 7, your phone needs to work off the ship. This is one people forget. At home, if you're lost, what do? You pull out your phone. Need transportation? Phone. Need directions? Phone. Need to translate something? Phone. Need your excursion confirmation? Phone. Now imagine getting off the ship in another country and realizing your phone doesn't work. Before you leave home, figure out your international phone situation. Maybe your carrier includes international service. Maybe you need an international plan. Maybe you're using an eSIM. Whatever you choose, figure it out before the trip. And I still download or screenshot important information. Hotel address, cruise terminal information, excursion confirmations, important reservations, because I don't want my entire vacation depending on whether I have 5 bars. All right, be sure that you learn a little bit about the money before you go. You don't necessarily need to walk around with a giant envelope of foreign currency. In many popular international destinations, I use my credit card for most purchases, but I still like having access to some local currency. Before traveling, check whether your credit card charges foreign transaction fees. Know your PIN if you're planning to use an ATM. And here's a big one. If a machine asks whether you want to pay in US dollars or the local currency, don't just automatically press dollars because it looks familiar. Understand the conversion you're being offered. Sometimes choosing US dollars means you're allowing the merchant or ATM provider to perform the currency conversion at its rate. Also, have a backup card. I never want one card to be my only access to money while I'm overseas. Now, this is a big one. Don't underestimate how exhausting an international cruise can be. Listen, a Caribbean cruise can be beach, drink, beach, ship, nap, dinner. Some international itineraries will be wake up, we have a 7:15 a.m. tour, and tomorrow, another country. Some international cruises are very, very port intensive. And if you know me, I love port intensive. You may have 5 ports in 7 days, sometimes even 6 or 7. And every morning you're getting up early, walking 15,000 steps, taking tours, climbing stairs, exploring cities. By day 5, your body is going to ask, what exactly did it do to deserve this? You don't have to do a 9-hour excursion in every port. Choose your priorities. Maybe one destination is your big sightseeing day. Maybe the next port is a slower food tour. Maybe another day you simply walk around the port city, eat lunch, have some coffee, and get back on the ship early. You paid for the ship too. It's okay to enjoy it. Before we continue, if these tips are helping you prepare for your first international cruise, hit that like button, subscribe to MH Family Adventures, and let us know in the comments where are you headed to. Number 10, know when to book a cruise line excursion. I don't think you need a cruise line excursion in every port. We tend to book independent or third-party tours most of the time, but sometimes we explore completely on our own. But the farther I'm traveling from the ship, the more I'm thinking about risk. If we're taking a train an hour and a half away, if we're catching a ferry, if we're traveling into another city, if there are multiple transportation connections, I'm paying very, very close attention to timing because independent tours can offer amazing experiences, But ultimately, you are responsible for getting back to that ship. So if you're nervous about navigating a particular destination, there's absolutely nothing wrong with booking the cruise line's excursion, especially on your first international cruise. One of the best things you can do before traveling internationally is spend 20 minutes learning how transportation works at your destination. Where is the train station? Does Uber or another rideshare service operate there? Are taxis readily available? Do taxis accept credit cards? Can I use public transportation? Do I need to purchase tickets before boarding? What transportation app should I download? You don't have to become an expert. You just don't want your first time thinking about transportation to be while you're standing outside the airport with 2 suitcases and a 3% battery. I usually want 3 transportation plans figured out before we leave. Airport to hotel, hotel to cruise port, and cruise port to airport or post-cruise hotel. Once those 3 things are handled, I already feel better about the trip. Number 12, stop expecting everything to work like it does in America. And this may be the most important tip. You're leaving the country because you want to experience another part of the world. So experience it. The hotel room might be smaller. The elevator might fit 2 people, and one of you might have to hold your breath. Dinner might take longer. You might have to pay to use the restroom. You may not get unlimited refills. Air conditioning may not feel like you're air conditioning at home. Coffee may be different. Breakfast may be different. Customer service may feel different. That's not necessarily bad. It's different. One of the best things traveling internationally has taught me is that there isn't only one way to live. And that's part of what makes traveling so much fun. Try the food, learn a couple of phrases, take the train, walk the neighborhood, sit at the cafe, talk to people, put the phone down sometimes and look around. You travel thousands of miles. Enjoy where you are. And here's a bonus tip for you. Give yourself permission to be a beginner. This isn't technically one of the 12, but somebody needs to hear it. You don't have to know everything. You may get on the wrong train. You might pronounce something completely wrong. You may stand at a ticket machine staring at it like it's personally offended you. We've all been there. The first time is how you learn. And I promise, the more you travel internationally, the easier it becomes. Your first trip, you're nervous about everything. Then one day you'll realize you're walking through another country, figuring out the metro, finding your restaurant reservation and thinking, wait a minute, I actually know what I'm doing. That's one of my favorite parts of traveling. So if you're sitting at home looking at that cruise in Barcelona or Athens or Rome, or maybe you're ready to take it even farther and cruise somewhere like Asia, do it. Prepare, but don't let fear stop you, because cruising internationally has given us some of our absolute favorite travel experiences. And I actually think cruising is one of the best ways to start exploring the world. You get to unpack once, your room travels with you, your food and entertainment travel with you. You can spend the day exploring a completely new destination. Come back to the familiarity of your cruise ship that evening, and tomorrow morning, guess what? You wake up in another destination. That's pretty amazing. And if you're ready to plan your first international cruise or your next cruise anywhere in the world, contact Major Adventures Travel. We also are offering different abroad trips through our website. If you go to majoradventurestravel.com, groups tab, you will see that we're offering quite a few cruises abroad. And if you are a sister ready to cruise abroad, we offer our Sisters Cruising Abroad series. Be sure to check it out over on our website, because cruising is our specialty and we'd love to help you find the right cruise, itinerary, and experience for you. Now, I want to hear from you. If you've cruised internationally before, what is one thing you wish you knew before your first cruise abroad? Drop it in the comments, because your tip might help somebody else who's watching this video and nervous about taking that first trip. And if you're planning your first cruise abroad, tell us, where are you going? Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and share this video with somebody who's thinking about taking their first international cruise. Thanks so much for watching MH Family Adventures, and remember, wherever you cruise, make it a major adventure.